So the first question is for both of you. What got you interested in this film?
Um, I pretty much will work on anything Franklin does if he lets me. But it was the fresh take that he had on AI that really intrigued me. Um, and it was beautifully written, and I just really, really wanted to play something that was a little more challenging than things I had done before.
Yeah, it was very beautiful, beautifully written. I
Mhm.
think what appealed to me so much was the script was so meaty and the character of Dina was so complex. And I had worked with Franklin before on theater, but I hadn't worked with him on film, and I really wanted to. And it was just such a rich and exciting and unique opportunity. It felt like I'd won the lottery when he sent me.
And, right, and this is a really unique film of the subject matter in
Mhm.
today's world as well. We're seeing all this AI art come out with the chat GPT and everything that people
Yeah.
are using. I mean, now we're seeing fake podcasts of real people's voice being used.
Mhm.
So what stood out about you guys working on this film as well about how the world is coming right now with all this AI intelligence?
Well, what it stood out for me initially was the using of AI to do good in the world, and the use of AI to protect children, and the use of AI, to bring um, bad people to justice, and the use of AI to just be in a million places at once. AI could do something that no human beings could do. So the vision of it being something powerful and good was very exciting. And then it turning a corner and running into, okay, now we have to look at it from a philosophical standpoint and talk about it. That was very appealing to me because I like philosophical discussions, and I like theater and film being used for, people to evolve in our humanitarian efforts.
Yeah, same. I uh, I wanted to see a fresh take on AI because right now, like you say, with everything that's going on with Chat GPT, and I think people are using that to write songs now. Um, so watching or being a part of the Artifice Girl, where you watch AI being used for something good, and not, so-called boogeyman, I think is awesome. I think it's one of the things that really appealed to me about this film, and I hope going forward we as people can have nuanced conversations about AI so that uh, AI being used for nefarious purposes won't happen.
Right. And how was it like working with Tatum on this film as well? Because what she does is very unique in her character. She kind of has to play it with almost no emotion. So she comes off as AI, which is really difficult. So how was it like watching her do that part on set?
It was cool. I thought she did a brilliant job. And, um, on one hand, you feel like she is artificial, but on the other hand, you feel like, oh, there's something underneath that, because there's a uniqueness and an energy when we were filming, that I felt like, yeah, she was Cherry, but there was still only one Cherry in the world. You
Yeah,
know, it's like she couldn't be duplicated. She had a uniqueness to her.
nice. Yeah, I loved. I've worked with Tatum before, so working with her and just watching the way she had approached the character with no emotions, because you see her in her original mode and she's happy and playful, but that's how we know Tatum. But then to watch her totally not emote at all was such a cool thing to watch.
And
Mhm.
what are you two looking forward to the most of people getting out of this film? Because it is a complicated film and it is an interesting subject as well.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It is complicated, and I I feel like we get beyond the conversation about AI, good or bad. And I hope that some people can see AI as a metaphor for, how do we treat people, the whole concept of autonomy, who has the right to take away decision making from another person. Um, there's themes in here about emotional trauma, and how does that get passed on from generation to generation. I just really hope that people don't get so caught up in the AI topic that they don't see so many of the more like really subtle and poetic themes that Franklin has so brilliantly weaved throughout his story.
Exactly. I want people to start having conversations about AI. I think when we as a collective can have conversations, then we can tackle, any problems that come up. I think when we don't have conversations, that's where the water start getting a little murky. Like Dina said, there are themes of trauma and lack of empathy and what gets passed down from the creator to its creation. Because AI is what we as people put into it, right? So
Right.
if we as people understand that, and I think this film does a great job of touching on that topic, if we understand that you have to treat AI like it's a child or whatever, then we'll be okay. But of course, like anything, people can find ways to do bad things with anything.
And Cinda, you touched on this a little bit before. You worked with Franklin in theater, and this was your first film working on with him on. So how was that transition like with Franklin as well?
It was really fun, and I felt a little bit like I was a student, and he was. I felt like I was in learner mode a lot, which I loved. I mean, it was just so. I felt so lucky to be in a film where he was wearing these three different hats, but all three he wears really well. And I love writing. I love words. I love storytelling. Um, I love film acting and I love theater acting. And so Franklin just had a lot that I was excited to be part of and to learn from him because he's a genius.
And
Yeah.
one final question for you both. What was the most fun that you had working on this film?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard to narrow it down. There was a lot of laughter, and a lot of jokes between takes. Um, if I had to pick a day, I think it was the day Franklin and I get into we get to our altercation, and just watching the brilliance of how they were coming up with different ways to try to film that. And yeah, I think that was the most fun that day. If I had to narrow it down, yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget the moment where Dina slams through and she pushes the door so hard that when they yelled, cut, somebody pulls the door back and the doorknob had totally put a hole in the wall on the other side.
Yeah.
Franklin, he used it. Yeah, he pulls the door handle out of the wall and looks at it. Well, it's in the movie.
Yeah. So that was fun
Well,
too.
guys, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been fun and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.